Here we go. Welcome, Meatball George. How are you
Hello,
today?
Brother John. How are you?
So today is a very interesting day. I don't know if you know this, George.
Yeah.
Today is National Ice Cream Day.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to leave the show.
And go get some ice cream.
Oh, that's some ice cream. The last time I went up to the place over here, they served the custard. The guy goes, "We don't have any custard."
You're
What kind of custard place doesn't have any custard? This country's going crazy. Crazy, I'm telling you.
Going to hell in a handbasket. That's right.
I went to get mustard at the store, didn't have any mustard. How do you run out of mustard?
In the summertime, when everyone's trying to have a picnic, you run out of mustard.
Just before the 4th of July, they don't have any mustard. You're gonna have a hot dog. Sorry, you can't have any mustard. And don't come for some custard after, because we don't have that either.
Well, that either. Okay.
Jesus.
All right. So another note, looking at the calendar, we are 30 days away or thereabouts from the Bills opening training camp.
No,
I'm sorry, a week away.
7 days from today, they open training camp, and a month from now is the first preseason game. And they only have 3 preseason games. So you're less than 2 months of the season. You're just a week from training camp. It's honest now.
It is. It's on top, and I'm ready. I mean, I'm ready.
You got your veterans, you got your new draft rookies, you got your free agents you picked up. It's time to figure out who's going to make this team so we can win a Super Bowl. And can we win a Super Bowl? Are we talented enough?
Are we indeed? Oh, all right. So I got a question.
Yeah.
Does Jordan Poyer show up day one training camp?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So if he shows up, then I'm really not expecting there to be any holdouts.
I can't imagine who they would be or for what reason. I don't believe it would be Poyer, because what would be his advantage? If you think somebody's going to pick him up and pay him more money, I think he's got to stay in Buffalo, or he's going to leave Buffalo and not, he's going to end up like Levi Wallace is going to leave Buffalo and not really make a heck of a lot more money and not be on a playoff caliber team. I'm sorry. That's what I feel about it. I don't think he will. I think he's here. I think he wants to be here. And I think we want him to be here. I think it'll all work out.
Question then.
Okay.
Jordan Poyer.
Yeah.
The Bills have gotten some notoriety, and Poyer, the safeties have gotten some notoriety to how well they work together.
Right.
But Jordan Poyer, is he a top 5 safety in this league? On his own, just Jordan Poyer. His work, is he a top 5 safety?
He is that good.
Okay.
I think it's possible. Yes.
Now he is 30. He's going to be 31 at the beginning of the season, which puts him at 32 at the beginning of next season. And as you know, this is the last year of his contract. So it is interesting. It'll be interesting to find out exactly, do the Bills offer him a deal before the season starts or not? Do they find a way of signing him during the season? Does he play this year for a deal next year with somebody else? Some other interesting notes, training camp. I think that there are some, maybe not starters, but in the wide receiver room, there's going to be some competition to make the team.
Okay.
I think that, obviously Diggs, and it really looks, Gage they look to be locked up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel going into training camp, Crowder is locked up?
That who is locked up?
The slot receivers, at Crowder?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I don't think there's any question in my mind that Jamison Crowder is our slot receiver to start the season. And I think that the new rookie is going to work himself into that, whether it's this season or next season, I don't know. But I think this year, we're looking at Jamison Crowder. He's experienced. He's a crafty, skilled route runner,
Okay.
and he runs well after the catch. So I think he's our guy. I think there's a lot of upside with our rookie, but he's a rookie yet, and I don't think the McDermott team really relies on rookies as much as we'd like them to jump to rookies, except for a few instances. Like I think you're going to see our new cornerback go right onto the field. But I think there's going to be more drama in the running back room than the wide receiver.
All right. What are you looking for? Like what kind of, if you're talking about a training camp battle or questions to be answered, what are you looking for in the running back room?
All right. Well, I don't think there's any question in my mind that Singletary is our number one running back.
Okay.
He's done well. He's been consistent. We've got a much more agile and athletic front line now. And I think you saw him at the end of last season really starting to gain some yards. He had over 800 yards plus another couple of hundred in receiving yards. That's a good back. There's nothing wrong with that for the way the Bills run the ball. And I don't think there's anybody else on this team yet that's going to challenge him. And I mean, today, we got a rookie. We're going to see what's going to happen. But as a starting running back, he's experienced. He doesn't fumble a lot, and he can get you some yards. You got a better line. He's a good blocker for Josh Allen. I can't imagine why he wouldn't be the starting guy. And then you got your rookie. They're not going to use a number 2 pick on a guy, and he's not going to make the team. He's making the team. He's making this team.
Yeah, he's making this team.
I think we're going to see him get some touches on the ball, and each week get a few more touches. I think early in the year, we have a lot of tough games. I think we'll see him more in the middle of the season as some of the games, the competition is a little less, and he gets his footing and he gets a little more comfortable with the game plan. I think we'll see him then. I think early in the season, we'll see him get a few touches for running. I think we'll see him a little bit in the run game, but I think we'll see Duke Johnson more in the passing game and spelling Singletary as he'll be the number 2 running back, and also more of the catching. So you'll have Singletary, the number 1 back, Duke Johnson, the number 2 back, and doing some receiving. The rookie working his way into the line, and I think Moss is out.
All right. So you're thinking Moss is not going to be on the team,
right,
with the final cuts. Okay.
Right. I think that you got the fullback Gilliam, and he could do multiple things. He can even go in on the as a tight end if you need him.
Mm-hmm.
He can catch the ball some. I honestly don't see any reason to keep Moss, except for, he's still on a rookie contract. And I think if they can get a trade for him, even if it's for a future pick, I think they might take it. I don't think they'll want to have 5 running backs in the room. I don't count Taiwan Jones because he's a special teams guy.
Yeah.
So, how many running backs are you going to keep? You're going to keep 5 more? I don't think so. And
yeah,
I don't think
you're right.
I don't think you're getting rid of Singletary. You're certainly not getting rid of your new rookie you just drafted. Duke Johnson, I think, is better, more experienced veteran than Moss. Moss has got a couple of 2-3 years behind him now, but we're not seeing anything out of the guy. He gets the ball, it's 1 yard if he's lucky. That's on a first down. If it's on a third down, he gets -1 yard. So I don't see Moss making the team. And I think that's the drama. We're going to see a change in philosophy in the running game. It's still going to be a passing team, but I think you're changing some of the players. I think Moss was intended to be the short yardage pickup guy and the goal line, get your touchdown guy. And he just hasn't been able to do it.
Really didn't develop into that.
Didn't
That's
develop
true.
into that. Yeah. So, and then they tried using him as the number one running back, and that didn't work for him either. And I like the kid, but I think Singletary is much better than he is. So I think he's the odd man out. That's
All right. Well, I don't really disagree. We talked about this before. I don't really disagree with you. I don't really, and I think they made a decision with when they tried to get J.D. McKissick.
Yeah, McKissick, right.
I think that was a window that we could look through to see what the brain trust was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't get him. But then they had Duke Johnson, and they go out and draft a Cook. I think Bean is trying to make a change there. I mean, I think he's trying to give a different talent set to the coaching staff to work with.
Honestly, I think if they would have got McKissick, I don't think they would have picked up Duke Johnson, certainly.
Right.
And I'm really doubtful that they would have drafted the rookie.
That you may be right. You may be right.
I think they wanted Breece Hall, and they lost him, but they had to get their cornerback. And I think the only reason they took this running back, James Cook, not that he's not good or anything, but they couldn't get McKissick. And this kid is, let's hope he does as well as a McKissick would do. I think that's
okay. I'm with you there.
I think Moss would have stayed on the team if McKissick was here, because they wouldn't have drafted that running back.
I see what you're saying. The only thing I would add is I think I feel like McDermott likes his veterans.
Yes, I do too.
And there's a real chance that the plan penciled in right now is for Singletary to start off as the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And after the bye week, when really their tougher part of the schedule is over with, that may be when we really get to see Cook get more opportunities.
Yeah, that's what I think. And they'll see how he develops as they get closer to the playoff time. And they'll make the decision who's really going to be their backs in the playoffs.
Now, I am very interested to see if Cook puts on a show during one of these exhibition games.
Yeah.
Because that could, if he shows some explosiveness, if he shows an ability to add that dimension in the passing game,
mm-hmm.
in training camp, he would be doing in an exhibition game. He'll be doing it probably not with Allen on the field, with the backup.
Right.
But if he does, that might be the one thing that might get him opportunities earlier in the season.
Well, I'll tell you what,
otherwise,
if he doesn't, then I think we got a problem. I think they drafted a guy pretty high up because they expect him to do well, especially in a preseason against other rookies and second stringers.
And third stringers, right.
Yes, I think they're expecting him to do well.
So,
and if he doesn't do well in that scenario, how are you going to start him against the Steelers, or how are you going to start him against Kansas City?
I am excited to see how that works out.
And he's going to, and the first game is against the Colts.
Right.
And you know, their defense is tough.
It is. All right. So is there another training camp battle you foresee, or what are you looking forward to seeing? Besides, please don't talk to me about the punter.
No, I won't.
We're all going to be excited to see how far this kid can really kick the ball.
Let's talk about the defensive line, especially the defensive ends.
All right.
You got Von Miller now.
You do.
He's your guy. Now, you may or may not use him. You know, the Rams used him more than people were saying that they were going to use him.
Right.
And the Bills are kind of leading you to believe like, well, he's near the end of his career, but he's still got fuel in the tank, and he's still got this, and we got all these young guys that are going to learn from him, but you don't bring him in if you're happy with everybody else. So somebody's got to go.
And all right. Well, that's a trading. All right. So So who do you think is competing for a spot?
I think Rousseau is going to stay. I think Boogie Basham did pretty good for his first year. I think Epinesa is in trouble.
Epinesa is in trouble. Okay. They brought in Shaq Lawson.
They brought Shaq Lawson back in. He's staying unless he gets injured or something during training camp. You got Shaq Lawson they brought in. You got Russo. You got Boogie Basham. They brought in Von Miller. How many defensive ends do you need?
You're right. So we heard at one of the mini camps that Epinesa, instead of working out with the defensive line, we're working out with the special teams.
Right. I remember you said that.
And that is not a good sign.
It's a good sign for other teams that might be interested in him.
Yeah. And you got it. Well, listen, when they drafted him, they got him in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is possible that there's a couple teams out there that were looking at him and maybe coveted him a little bit, but apparently none of them thought he was a first rounder. It's also possible. So there may be an opportunity for a trade there.
Maybe.
But it's also possible that the Bills simply had him as they had him ranked much higher than anybody else.
Yeah,
Hence the reason they took him.
It just didn't work. And I know that he was going to this defensive end school that Von Miller was given, and so was Rousseau, and so was Boogie Basham. And you got Shaq Lawson, who's a veteran. I just don't see where you're going to put him. I mean, to say he's not making the team, I mean, I guess he could. They could find a home for him in special teams, but it depends who else they have for special teams.
Now, last year on the 53-man roster, they kept 10 defensive linemen. They currently have, I think we've counted 4 defensive tackles that we think are all going to make the team. That gives them 6 defensive end spots.
Okay.
So Von Miller, Rousseau, Basham, Shaq Lawson, and you still got room for 2 more.
Okay.
So there's a real possibility he could make the team. We'll see.
We'll see.
Especially if he also can add something in the special team side.
Otherwise, he's not going to be dressing. He's going to be.
He could be the odd man out for dressing. We saw that quite a bit last year. Well, in his rookie season. And then so much. And I still go back to in his rookie season when he didn't even. He was a second round pick, but he was the first pick that they had that year because they had traded away their first round pick for Diggs.
Right.
The first 3 games of the season, they don't even dress him.
Yeah.
I think that was a real indication. Like maybe they were trying to motivate him, but I think that was a real indication that he think didn't live up to what they hoped.
I think what you're suggesting is they got a guy, they might make the team because they have an open slot and they don't have anybody else to put in it.
I think that's where he is competing against guys that I think he's at the end of the roster, that 50, 51, 52, 53 through 57.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. Then I don't feel there's an issue on the interior, but I do think there could be some interest on the offensive line.
Okay.
What are they going to do with Cody Ford? He's another guy that, do you keep him because he's still not making a lot of money yet? And he is familiar with the playbook. And would he be a good backup to a backup? I mean, do you foresee him even starting?
You know what I think is going to happen here is Cody Ford is going to get a lot of playing time in the preseason. And they will then look at that tape and see Coach Kramer will look at that tape and see what he's got and see if he's somebody he wants to keep. I think he is, I don't know that he's on the outside looking in right now, but he's fighting for a backup's role. His versatility, if he has versatility, will come into play because we've seen him play both guards positions.
Yeah.
I think he is fighting for that backup role.
Yeah, I think he's fighting for a backup role.
Yeah.
And this might be, again, it's one of these guys that I see as like, is he going to make the team because he's getting it in the fifth numbers in the 50s spot, 53rd guy,
Oh, yeah.
51st guy in the team, or is he on the practice squad? I mean, here's a kid that they used a high draft pick on, and he's had all kinds of issues, problems, injuries. Sometimes he looked like a rusty gate, and I thought Josh Allen was going to get killed out there. And
he's had some trouble.
Josh Allen is the team,
Mhm.
and you can't let this offensive line be a macaroni trainer.
No, you're right. That crushes everything. Not only is Allen the team, but passing is a team. Is the team, right? And if he doesn't have protection right up the middle, that's
But otherwise, I don't see a lot of problems on the offensive line. I think you got Bates in there now. I think he found his spot. You got Mitch as your center. You got Spencer as a guard or tackle position. You got Dawkins on the other side. You brought in that guy Saffold. You got him in there.
Yeah, that looks like your starting five right there.
Yeah, I think you got some guys. So I think that's, you always need to have backups on the offense and defensive line.
You do.
Somebody's going to get somebody's going to twist their ankle.
Yeah, you use them.
And I mean, I think Cody Ford can survive the same way that Epinesa could survive, but they are the backup role. It's a guy that you really don't want to get to, but if you do, you're glad you got him.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, you hope you're glad you got him.
Yeah, right.
If you end up having to use him, like Bates went in and they were very glad they had him last year.
You don't have to put a tight end in that spot, and there's not big enough. You don't have to put a hippo in the spot where you need an elephant.
Okay.
And and I don't think there's any issues on the quarterback, but I do think there's drama in the secondary.
Defensive secondary.
Yeah, because we don't really know about Trey White yet.
There is a question. Yeah.
There's your drama. If Trey White's ready to go, he's cornerback number one.
Yeah.
And then you could decide, do you want the rookie to start from day one, or do you want one of these other guys that have been playing for a while to start, so that the rookie doesn't have to start against one of the top teams in the league and can work into it a little bit? But if Trey White is still out, and you've got to start, who's our other guys? Why do I keep forgetting their names?
Is it Dane
Jackson? And I know they always talk very highly of him, and I know he works hard and all of that stuff. But you lost Levi Wallace. He was your number 2 guy. And so you're talking about the number 3 guy and maybe a rookie being your starting cornerbacks. And that could be a problem. So you can't, and I think that's what Poyer might use as the leverage.
Okay.
So I think we're going to see that drama work out as we finally get closer and find out how close is Trey White to being ready.
Okay.
If he's not ready, you need your 2 safeties. And if he is ready, you might be able to risk letting Poyer go. I hope they don't. But
well, next year you mean? Or do you mean this year?
No, I mean, if he doesn't show up for camp, he's not going to get in shape. I mean, what good is it?
Well, so I got a prediction here.
Okay.
I don't think he shows up at the start of camp. I don't think he's there.
Okay.
I know you can get fined for that. And I don't think he went out and got the new agent to wait till next year.
Yeah, okay.
to use
All
it.
right, that's a good point.
He's 31. This is his last real deal. And I think he's gonna push. Whatever leverage he has, I think he will try to use it.
You know, is there any good for the team if a guy doesn't show up? Is he in violation of his contract at all? Can they drop him without having to pay, having it to cost him on the cap?
Um,
If a guy doesn't show up,
whatever
it
they,
doesn't seem
whatever
fair.
they have, there's two parts to the cap part. His cost against the cap is really two halves. What they're actually paying him this year and whatever they charged against the cap in previous years with signing bonuses and whatnot, whatever they moved there. So the part that they signed or they charged against the cap from previous years is still there.
Mhm.
But of course, you wouldn't be paying him.
Yeah,
Game one, he's not going to get a salary. So if they cut him, they would still have to charge themselves against the cap, whatever they borrowed against the cap from past.
from
I don't
past.
know how
Yeah.
much that is, but this is the last year of his current deal, so presumably there's something there. I don't know how
Plus,
much.
they'd have to get a safety. I mean, they got a safety. They got a safety on the team, but whether or not.
Stuff Hyde.
Mhm.
But that's an interesting, you had brought up an interesting point. Will the Bills, if Trey White isn't going to be there to start the season, will they feel additional pressure to acquiesce to Poyer's demands? Because they don't want to have that much shakeup in the defensive backfield in a year that you hope to go to Super Bowl.
Well, it's only a week away. We're going to find out pretty soon.
Yeah, but anyway, that's my bold prediction. I think he's going to use whatever leverage he can to convince the team that they need to come to the bargaining table and work a deal with him.
Yeah, yeah, and when the camp opens, we'll also know, is Trey White practicing? Is he wearing a red shirt? Don't touch me, or green shirt, whatever they wear.
Yeah. Is he out there working? Yeah,
Is
you're
he
right.
out there working? Don't forget, he's been off a long time and has a hell of an injury. So
Rehab from
is it the
that
same
is a
guy?
long,
Yeah.
hard road,
Mhm.
and we do not know where exactly he is. You are absolutely right.
Mhm.
Presumably, he wouldn't play much in the exhibition games or preseason anyway, because he's a starter, and they don't tend to use him much. So they don't tend to use their starters much in that preseason. But if he's even not there, like if he's not showing up because of the injury and he's rehabbing it separately, or not, that could be an indication the beginning of the regular season is out of the question.
Well, if he's not there to start the season, and you got a rookie out there, and you got a number 3 cornerback and a rookie cornerback, and you lose one of your safeties, then the other teams are going to be thrown against the Bills. So it's going to be tee off time on that front line.
Yeah, I'm with you. You are absolutely right. So let's, do you have a particular, we're getting close to the end of our show here. Do you have a particular, I'm not quite sure, like a big prediction or any last thoughts on any other positions that you want to throw in we got about 2 minutes.
Well, let's see. I know we're not going to talk about the punter.
Please, not the punter.
Please, not the punter. No, I think we covered it. I think in the wide receiver, you got Gabe Davis. I think he's going to be a lot better than some people speculate. And I think Jamison Crowder is a really good player. I think Shakir, whatever his first name is, Khalid Shakir,
Yeah,
the new receiver, I think they're going to break him in slowly as well. and he's got a lot of potential too. Potential. Who knows about potential? But he's fast. He's good a route runner. You got Diggs there. I think our passing game is going to be absolutely fine. And I think with the running backs, they're going to be adding a dimension in the running game. And I still think you're going to see a running team. And I don't really have a lot of problems on the offensive. I just see a couple of questions on the defensive side, and the most dramatic being that the backfield.
What's going to happen? What has been a strength of this team
What has
for
been a
several,
strength.
really since McDermott's been there, the
Yeah.
defensive backfield has been a
The
strength.
last
and now-
the last couple of years, the defense has really kept us in a lot of ball games.
Sure.
Let's face it. And strength of it's been the back end. Now we think we're stronger up front. And now we got some potential problems. So we really don't know. There's too many open questions to predict, but a week from today, I think we'll start to see a few answers.
All right. Looking forward to it.
Okay.
Meatball
Thank you.
George, we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right. If you enjoyed this show, give us a thumbs up.
Well, here I give you one. I liked it.
All right. Thumbs up. All right. Have a good night.
Goodbye.